Hey, it's Margie with the Asking Spot, and I have been thrift shopping. Picked up some things that, well, you know, if you saw my embroidery video, I'll do one of these and one of these, you know. Can't do without these. I'm obsessed. So I got a frame, $2. It's actually just fine the way it is, although, you know, I like to live and learn and use these things for test stuff, so you never know. I might change that up. This one I'm definitely going to change up. It's a cute little basket, little wire basket. It's only $1. So I'm going to check my stash, see what metal paint I have, and change that up. But then I found this piece. This is the piece that's going to go into my bathroom that I have just recently tried to refresh. However, if you've seen that video, you know, this is not going to fit the color, not going to fit the mood or anything. But I'm going to change it. So how much did I pay for this one? Let's see, I got $3 in on the other two.
$1 million.
$10.
That's cheap.
Okay. I know that's not a lot, but you know, I'm
She's cheap.
frugal.
Yeah, cheap.
But here's the thing. It doesn't match the motif at all. But it's not an antique. This stuff, this cover here, I mean, it's really a little tin kind of thing. But that's paper. I can just take this, you know, I can take all of this off or mess with it and paint it as I please. And hopefully when I take off all that paper and stuff, I'll get it to fit a little bit better. So here it goes.
And clean, and clean, and clean.
A cup. Speed things along.
Wait, what are you doing?
Wait, what are you doing? Oh, come on!
Well, there was vast amounts of dripping, so I wanted to see if I could do this, and yeah, not good.
Key takeaway, never spray paint on a windy day, because you're always going to be tempted to bring the spray in closer to the piece. That leads to drips. But if you're like myself and you live in a coastal town that is pretty much windy or it's deathly hot, then you got to remember to put up a cardboard or a box or something to block the wind so you can spray at a proper distance.
From a distance, it looked pretty good, but up close, yeah. Even after the swiping, it just dripped loads again. But the weird thing is A, I've sprayed that close to other pieces and haven't had as much problems, and B, look at the other side. The other side looks great. Even the lid, the top of it turned out great. Not so much the inside. But rather than what I did with the side of the piece, I am going to fix the inside here properly. I'm sanding it down. Now, it's just sanding in varying grits. I started out with a low grit, I think like an 80, moved up to a 120, And then I think I finished in the end with like a 300. Cleaned it all off and then went to spray it again. Voila, much better.
Let's do a product review of this. It works.
All right!
There's a catch.
It's not exactly user friendly, but when you finally have it, I don't know. I'm looking at the better side of this and I'm kind of like, well, how much different would this be if I had just taken any other of the primer paints and maybe put a top coat on it? I suppose because it's all in one, I guess. Well, it's not really a primer, but you know what I mean. I just think if I wanted this to be perfection, if this was a piece that I knew was going to be totally out in display or I was going to give it to someone else, this would be a total disaster and I'd have to go all back over. So my review of this, if you're going to follow the instructions to a T, you have the ideal climate and atmosphere to do it in, yeah, go for it. But otherwise, the money you might save on this particular one, not really worth it. Now, I'm not saying I have a problem with Rustoleum or anything like that. I'm not even saying I have a problem with this one.
What are you saying?
Just am saying, be forewarned, it's not the easiest thing to use. It's a bit temperamental. You might want to skip it if you're new to doing any of this. So my original plan was try to do an enamel, like, classic enamel on this and have that look with it being white with black trim on it. I think technically it's black with the white on top of it, but you get the idea. I was gonna go for that. I've switched plans. I'm instead gonna do kind of one of those, the camping enamel gear, the speckled ones, yeah, like that. Only because this is going in my bathroom and I happen to have a lot of the lavender paint left over. I'm gonna go ahead and do it with the lavender paint and some speckling. But the biggest thing to do before any paint job is prep. Prep work is the difference between a and a whoo. So with that being said, I am taping everything off. I'm taping the rims off like you would, hopefully I'm gonna leave them white, seeing as I'm changing up the color scheme. So instead of black with white on top, mine's ideally gonna be white with purple on top. But here's the thing, I was already having this lid was tight and hard to hit anyway, so I went ahead and I'm gonna give it a little extra thick rim just so I'm not doing any excess paint than I need to, and I'm gonna leave the insides alone and just do the purple on the outsides and see how we do. Let's talk splatter technique. You can do it in a number of ways, but just a heads up, if the effect you want is like long strings of paint and bigger globs, then go with longer bristled brush. I tried it out and it was not the look I was going for. Did I follow my cardinal rule that you should always use a test subject first, or at least do it somewhere inconspicuous? Of course not.
Yeah, now you're thinking.
I did it on the lid. Yeah, so whatever. It's gonna be crammed in the bathroom. We're cool. But if you want smaller speckles, using an old toothbrush is the way to go. However, even with this, I found it was a little more efficient if I didn't do it. I'd seen other people do it stuff like this or like this, pushing it in or out. Either way, like when I split it in, I got more up on the inside of my arm, and when I pushed it away with my thumb, I got more on the top than I actually got on the item. It wasn't until I flipped it around and did it right at it, and I went like that I started to get the speckles that I wanted. But takeaway on this, do a test subject first. Well, before we get into all the befores and afters, if you could please click the subscribe button. Costs you nothing, really helps out the channel. Give a thumbs up, I greatly appreciate that. And now here's the befores. Now, as far as the frame's concerned, that's just going on hold. I've got a big piece of furniture I'm going to try some techniques on. I'm going to use that as my test subject before I do it on the furniture, so it'll get some changes later. Then we get into the metal basket. Now this one was super simple. I just spray painted it copper, and I could have done a patina on it, which I've done patinas before. I'll have links in below where you can check out that. But the problem is that usually, you know, patinas are this beautiful green aqua color that happens on copper after it's kind of corroded. But seeing as I wanted this basket to be in my kitchen, I thought a corroded look wouldn't be that great, so I went and just left it with the copper spray paint. You could obviously, though, silver, gold, whatever's in your theme, super easy to do. Keep an eye out for these little cheapies. They are great. It is now my cloth napkin holder, and you're thinking, wait a minute, didn't you do a basket with it that could be your cloth napkin holder?
This was not what I was thinking.
Yes, but you know, I'm obsessed with my embroidery, and I needed a place to hold frames that I found that don't have art in it
This
yet.
is getting out of hand.
So that's where they are now. They're in that. Okay, so the big piece, the tin. Here's what it looked like at first, and now how it looks. This is going to be some much needed storage in our guest bathroom, and I am thrilled with it because it matches the colors that are already in the bathroom. And yeah, sure, it can get changed up whenever I decide to change up the bathroom again. Thanks so much for watching The Asking Spot. Got something bloopers next. Did I mention I'm not the best at taping? Yeah, there's going to be some touch-ups.